Hi guys, welcome to my part of YouTube again, my little bonsai corner. Welcome everybody. I've got a nice little Boulevard Cypress here, or a Saguaro Cypress. Say little, it's nearly 2 feet, so it's quite a big tree. Right, what we're going to do today is, I've noticed just recently all this wire that I put on last year just starting to cut in now. So what I want to try and do now is try and take this wire off, so that way then we're going to stop it from cutting in. Going to check as well to make sure that the branches are holding. If they're not, then we might have to wire it again a little bit more, just to try and keep that style and try and keep it to stay where I want it to stay, each branch. Yeah, at some point somebody's had, in this tree's life, somebody's left the wire on way too long. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's where it started to cut in. And there's another piece down on the trunk here where the wire's starting to cut in. I'm hoping that the bark will be thick enough that we'll cover it eventually. Still in development, still need to sort out the apex. There's quite a few gaps here and around the back. Trying to get this branch to sort of fill it in a little bit, but needs some more work up in here. It's a little bit bare just here. So right, so what I'm going to do, using my cutters, I'm going to go in, hopefully the back or the underneath of the branch, so if I do catch the branch you're not going to see it, and we're going to cut this wire off, and we're going to see, just because it's just starting to cut in and I want to catch it just before it really does any damage. This tree's obviously growing quite nicely, it's got some very nice growth. So yeah, let's go and get my cutters and we'll start cutting this wire off. Okay, so we've zoomed in a little bit now. You can see here one of the points where somebody's had the wire on originally and they've left it on a little bit too long and it started to cut into the trunk. So I'm hoping it's not going to be that bad. It's just started to cut in now. So what we're going to do underneath, cut this wire off. If we keep it all at the same loops and all at the same time, the wire will just fall off like that. He's hoping. Oh, missed that one. A little bit hard to do when there's a camera in the way. So that's come off. Cut this one off, and we'll take this one off. This is aluminium wire that I've got on here. Can we see? Just started to cut in, just there. It's just starting to make an impression in the branch, you can see there. So hopefully that's going to come out okay, and it's going to just, the tree will just, when it starts to grow, it will just fill it back in. There's another one in there. Let's cut him off at the bottom. Let's take that piece of wire out of the way. Right, let's try this one. Come on, good. Come on. So if you just keep doing the same links, the same coils, if you just keep cutting at the same position, your wire should just fall off. Each part should just fall off like that. And cut that one. There we go, just fall off. Sometimes it's a bit difficult when you don't really want to try and unwind the wire, because you could possibly break branches, things like that. So the best bet is to just cut the bottom of each coil and the wire should just fall off like that. Okay, caught the branch there a little bit. That will be fine, that will be fine. So that's not too bad. Right, I'm going to go through rest of the tree now. I don't want to bore you with me just cutting this wire off, and then we're going to have a look see whether the branches have held. If not, we're going to apply a little bit more wire. So I'll show you into that one. So bear with me a second, I'll do all of this and we'll be straight back. Okay, so right, I've just been starting to cut some more of this wire off. Just noticed here and here the wire's cutting quite a bit here. Sort of my fault, the tree's caught me out there. I wasn't expecting it to have grown this quick. and it has. Must have been all this lovely weather that we've been having. I'm in the shed at the moment because it's chucking it down with rain outside at the moment, and it's incredibly windy. So hopefully this will be a better video. I've got a new microphone as well, so that should be better. The sound should be much better now, and that way as well the wind's not really going to affect the mic too much. But yeah, this is cutting. I'm hoping the tree will cover this up eventually, because we don't really want to see that, but it should be okay. So anyway, I'm going to carry on with this, and again I'll see you in a minute. Right, they say hindsight is a wonderful thing, but the downside about cutting all the wire off your tree is it goes all over the soil, and it's a right pain to get it all out. So hindsight, guys, cover the soil with a little cloth or a towel, or nick a blanket or a sheet from somewhere and put it over your soil, so that way then it will all fall down onto the sheet. You can just scoop the sheet up and throw away all the wire. Little tip for you. Wish I'd have thought about it before I started taking all the wire off, but there we go. Oh well, let's just keep digging out and keep taking all the wire out. Oh, I love this part of the hobby. This part of the hobby is amazing. Right then, so what we're going to do now, this is all the wire off now. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's held quite nicely. Quite happy with that. It took me 15 minutes to take all that wire off the bottom of the soil. Yeah, put a sheet down, guys. It will help immensely. It will help immensely. Right. One thing I'm not too happy about is this branch here is a little bit too low. It still wants thickening up a little bit more. It won't hold there, so I'm just going to apply a little bit of wire and raise this up a little bit. What I'm going to do is this branch here, I'm going to wire, move my hand out the way, I'm going to wire this branch. Always wire two branches together with the same piece of wire. So it's going to be this one and one that's pretty as close, as thick as the other one. So this one as well. You want two branches that are about the same thickness. So I'm going to wire this one to this one. This one just needs to come down a small amount, and this one needs to come up quite a bit. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'll zoom in and I'll get some wire on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to wire this branch with this branch here. So having them both the same thickness. So I just want to bring this wire out quite a way on this branch, just so it holds this branch and raises it up. So what we do, I'm using 2mm aluminium here. It's about the third of the thickness of the branch, guys, is what you're normally aiming for. But we're going to start here first. Can you see that there? Yep. This side, trunk side of the branch, get it into that shoulder nice and neat. If you can get the foliage out of the way first. Nice and neat, just get that started there. Then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go around the thickest part of the branch, which will hold this wire. That's going into that shoulder there. And then, if I can find where the end of my wire is, there it is. So I'm going to support it with my left hand, with my left fingers, finger and thumb of my left hand. I'm going to support that, and then about 45 degrees, rolling that wire as we go. Don't just sort of bend and pull tight, because that's going to pull too tight onto the branch. You just want to sort of roll it, maintaining that pressure with your left hand to keep it still. You don't want to be bending the branch, you want to just be moving the wire around the branch. Around we go. Bring your hand further forward, your left hand up to the next coil to support it. This is in the way. My wiring's not the best, but this is how I've learned to do it. The more you do it, the more practice that you get, the better you'll become at it. Now it's coming down to here now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to keep this foliage out of the way as well. Ooh, excuse me. I'm going to try and get it between these two branches here, and between these two. So it's going to go through there, supporting it with my left hand. Round we go again, rolling it, bring my hand back up, supporting it, and around we come. Don't want to trap any foliage as well, so I'm just going to bring it to there. Now this one has gone anti-clockwise, so it's going around this way. Well, this one we want to go clockwise. So if you can, if possible, always trunk side of the branch, and then let's just turn the tree around a little bit, that might help. Let's move out the way. So supporting that trunk again, supporting the shoulder of that branch, nice and tight, nice and tightly in. Rolling that wire again. We don't want the wire too tight on the branch. You don't want to be actually physically bending that branch. You want to be bending the wire. You can bend the branch slightly into position as you're wiring, which will help, but you don't want to be pulling that wire tight around the branch. So just round to there, cut that excess off. Let's get rid of that. Come back round to this branch. Do we need to come a little bit further? I'm going to come out a little bit further, split myself between that branch, and just come. Now this wire is getting a little bit too thick now for this branch, because this branch is thinning out quite a lot here, so I'm going to stop it there. Cut that off. Now a little bit of movement, supporting the branch with your one hand, and then holding and bending the branch up to where you want to be. Let's get the foliage out of the way. I just want to bring this a little bit up to there, and this one I just want to bring in and then just back out and down, and twisting it slightly, just twisting it this way slightly to get this pad to sit a little bit flatter. That's what I'm aiming for. Let's have a look at that. That's better. This branch is now sitting a little bit better. Okay, I'll zoom out and show you that. So that's sitting there a little bit nicer. It looks a lot better. I think that looks a lot better there. Brought this wire and this branch inwards a little bit more and lower down. I just got to wait for this to grow out now and fill out. These don't backbud very well, so I'm trying to keep as many branches as I possibly can and maybe move them at a future date in to help fill this. If you cut off too many of the inside branches, then all you're going to have is a long thin branch with the foliage sitting on the outside, which isn't going to look right. So if you do get one of these, try and keep the branches as much as you possibly can, because once you've cut them off, you can't really stick them back on. Well, you can, but they'll die, so it's kind of pointless. Regarding how long you leave the wire on, it depends on the plant and it depends on how much it's growing. Your best bet is if you've got some wire on your trees when you're training them, just keep a constant eye on them. As soon as they start to cut in, then we need to start looking at taking that wire off, and if it hasn't set the branch, then we could always rewire it again and move it back into position, and then hopefully it should hold the next time that you take the wire off. There's no actual fixed time. Just keep an eye on the tree. What you're aiming for is not this, is not where it's starting to cut in. I've left it a little bit late on this one. Hopefully these ones from previous owner, these I'm hoping that the bark will thicken up and cover those. These ones shouldn't, they're only just like slight little lines, so hopefully should take a few weeks and the tree should just push those out of the bark. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Yeah guys, earlier, good tip, put a sheet on your soil if you're cutting lots of wire off. It will save you plenty of time. It will save you plenty of time. But there we go then guys. So thank you for watching. If you are new, please consider subscribing. Certainly help me out, and you get to see some more videos as I start working on my trees. Drop a like if you like it as well, Let me know what else you'd like to see in the comments, guys, if there's any of my other trees that you'd like to see. I've got a couple of other videos on there. I've got one where I've been working on my maples, doing some cutting with those, and there's quite a lengthy video with a little walk around of my garden with all the trees that we've got at the moment. But thanks again for watching this, guys, and I will see you all soon.